You're listening to America's Web Radio, your voice in the matter.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the show, as they say. Welcome to the show. Yeah, I won't try and sing to you guys on this Thanksgiving week. But yes, don't second guess yourself. You are listening to On Point with Victor. This is Victor Armendariz, and I am sitting here in studio live on this Thanksgiving week. That's right. Your host does not take this week off. He can't afford to. So here I sit, ready to bring you, the common sense and logic analysis of the things that are going on in the news and some things that's called news, but I don't think is worthy of being called news. But we'll discuss it here anyway, especially if you send me messages and tell me what you want to hear, which a lot of you do. Some of you folks reach out on a regular basis and let me know what you want to hear. So if you're one of those out there and you're saying, Victor, we don't hear you talk about this, that, or the other, shoot me an email, victor@americaswebradio.com. That is victor@americaswebradio.com, VICTOR. Also, if you want to look me up, follow us here. You can find America's Web Radio on Facebook. And please become a follower. Find us on YouTube and become a subscriber. It doesn't cost you a penny. And you would do me a big help if you went to America's Web Radio and became a subscriber. You can also find all my past shows on YouTube as well. And then if you want to follow me directly as well on Facebook, you can find me. Just look for Victor, VICTOR, Armendariz, ARMENDARIZ. Make sure you spell it correct, folks. But look me up. I would love to have you. I'm on Twitter also, although I don't tweet a lot, but I'm on there. America's Web Radio is on there. You can find us also on Instagram. Radio Victor, America's Web Radio, America's Web Radio. Find us on Instagram. Look, folks, we'd love for you to engage. And this station is full of great content. We have wonderful hosts and wonderful shows. There is something for everyone to listen to at America's Web Radio. So check us out. We're the fastest growing, if not already the largest live producing podcasting radio station in the country. We are nationwide. And while I'm on that, if you're out there and you're a candidate maybe, or maybe you just like to hear yourself talk, give us a call. Email the general manager here, gm@americaswebradio.com. Give us your idea for a show if you have one. If you think you are capable and talented enough to do a show here, hey, you know what? Send us an email, gm@americaswebradio.com, and you too can come in here and have a show. And if you're a candidate, you can come in. In fact, David, I think we're almost ready to invite candidates in if they want to do a 30-second video spot. So, folks, if you're out there and you're a candidate, or you know a candidate, or you have a favorite candidate, let them know for a very, very low cost. They can come in here to America's Web Radio Studios and cut a 30-second video. We will help produce that. For a very small, and I do mean small fee, folks. No one else is going to be able to do what we do here for the low cost that we can do it. So let your candidates know and have them reach out. Reach out to me, Victor@americaswebradio.com or GM@americaswebradio.com. So, go ahead, David.
Victor, with that said, I want to wish everybody on your show and everybody that's listening in right now, or in a couple of days, happy Thanksgiving. But the main thing I want to talk about and address is the fact that our Thanksgiving, this will be, now last year, I don't know if you remember or not, but we had a reverend on from the fires.
Right.
He was the California fires, and he had been totally burned out. His home and his church had been destroyed.
Right.
And he gave us a short Thanksgiving message that even in the worst of times, and as some of you know, I've gone through some times that haven't been exactly the most fun in my life, but we still have prayer, and we still have somebody with us and going along with us all the time. With that being said, I want to mention the fact that this Thanksgiving will be undoubtedly fantastic here at America's Web Radio, as well as totally out of the ordinary. We have the First Lady Admiral, Navy Admiral, Rear Admiral, that's 2 stars, folks, coming in to do our Thanksgiving show, talking about her military service and our military in general. And preceding her, we do have a chaplain here at America's Web Radio now, and we're going to have our chaplain. He's already, to be honest, he's already done it. We've got a short message from the chaplain, and then he's going to lead us in prayer. You know, people overlook the fact that what a lucky anybody that lives here. We have our citizenship. We live in the greatest country in the world.
On the planet.
And not only that, but we also have the greatest military past. Our veterans are fantastic. Present, our men and women that are serving around the world to protect us. And then we have future military coming up. We have kids in high school that are deciding to make the military their career, which is a very, very wise decision. So we're honoring all of them, past, present, and future, and praying for all of them Thanksgiving morning. And we're very thankful for the radio station. We're very thankful for your support, and our great hosts like Victor and all the rest of them that have done a super job. And the radio station isn't the radio station without our host. And just like Victor says, if you've been listening to us and you have an opinion or you have a business that you want to promote nationally and internationally, drop us a line, just like Victor said, GM at America's Web Radio, and we will get back to you almost immediately.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, that if you're cooking in the morning, or you're whatever you're going to be doing on Thanksgiving, put America's Web Radio on in the background. You're going to want to hear this show coming up on Thanksgiving. And we here at America's Web Radio, we are not afraid to thank our troops. We're not afraid of prayer, and we're not afraid of anyone on the left making fun of us for doing it, because folks, believe me when I tell you it happens. But we don't care. And those of you who know me and listen to me, I'll talk about anything, and I'm an equal opportunity offender. I will offend the Democrats and I'll offend the establishment Republicans, because many of them deserve it. And I'll get into a little bit of that today. So welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is On Point with Victor. And let's get started here. And I want to welcome any new listeners out there. I have gotten a couple of messages that looks like we've got some new listeners tuning in today. So lucky for them, there were some spots today for you to tune in. We might have a couple of more, but we're filling up quickly. So, but all right, here we go. I mean, it is tough for me to figure out where to start. There's so much misinformation out there, and so many things hitting the news cycle. It's just tough to know where to start. When I have such a captive audience like this, I want to give you the most pertinent information and a very good analysis that only On Point with Victor can give you, which is common sense and logic. So I have limited time, so let me start going through this. But first of all, I'm going to tread on your Thanksgiving attention span real quick. I just want to, as David just said, we all here want to go ahead and wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all eat and get fat and then work it off after Thanksgiving. But no, listen, look, I want my listeners to be healthy, so be careful with what you eat and how much.
One other thing I want to throw in here that. If you're by yourself alone and you're saying, oh my Thanksgiving, what have I got to be thankful for? If nothing else, that your feet are planted in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. If you're listening to us outside and you don't know what is this Thanksgiving thing they're talking about, well, we came over here as a godly people, and we do thank God for the fact that we live in the United States and that, we have the opportunity to say yes or no to almost anything. And no matter what your situation is right now, I guarantee you, if you look hard and deep enough, you got something to be thankful for. No matter what it is, it may be history, it may be tomorrow, something to look forward to or whatever, but you do have something to be thankful for. If nothing else, you live in the greatest country in the world, in the United States.
Well, there's no question about that. And folks, David's absolutely right. I don't care how bad you think you have it right now. It can be worse. Somebody was complaining to me the other day, and I was trying to lift their spirits. And one of the things I told them, I said, look, you're on the right side of the dirt. I may not be 6 feet tall, but you know what? I'm a few feet in the right direction. And if you're, and that is enough to be thankful for, that you're walking upright.
Yeah, I want to throw out two more stories, and I hate to be taking your time.
That's okay.
But as I was growing up, my mother, if she said it once to me, she said it a million times. I cried because I had no shoes until I saw the man who had no feet. The other thing is that Mike Mazzell, the president of the Johns Creek Military Vietnam Veterans Association, told the story of being at the wall in Washington before they bought the wall for Johns Creek, the healing wall that traveled all over the United States. Before Johns Creek bought that, he was in D.C., and there was not a kid, but a young man, and was there with an older lady, which it was easy to assume mother and son. And the son had been scratching a name onto a sheet of paper, and he looked up at Mike and said, I met my father for the first time today.
Wow.
If that won't take you back.
If that doesn't make you pause, then you just have no heart. I mean, but folks, what we're getting at is life isn't easy. Freedom isn't easy. And you live in a country.
And it ain't free.
And it is not free. And folks, we live in a country where you have individuality. We have a political class that tries to squash the individual concept, the concept of the individual, and that's a shame because this country was built on individualism. This country was built on liberty. This country was built on freedom. This country is built on the fact you have the freedom to reach out for your American dream. And in doing so, it's not easy. Folks, there are ups and downs. I could sit here and tell you my personal stories, and some of you who know me, you know some of my personal stories. I have been high, I have been low, I have been in the middle. I have been riding high, being very, very, very successful, and then got diagnosed with cancer and had to battle that and then battle my way back. So there are always going to be battles in life, folks, but let me tell you, being in this country, you're a step ahead of the rest of the world. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and let me take the first break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get right into the topics and issues of the day. So you stay right there. This is America's Web Radio, On Point with Victor. We'll be right back.
If your health insurance premium is more than your mortgage, Ellen Deal with Ideal Solutions is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner, individual, family, or baby boomer, email MAGA45CAG@gmail.com and I'll respond with 3 easy questions to help you determine if you can get away from Obamacare. As a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry, I'm here to help with all your insurance needs. Email Ellen Deal at MAGA45CAG@gmail.com.
This is America's Web Radio. Would you like to have a show, talk about your business, or express your opinion on America's Web Radio? Just email gm@americaswebradio.com and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mike Mizell. I'm a retired Army colonel and president of the Johns Creek Veterans Association. We meet in Newtown Park, and part of one of our projects is the installation of the Healing Wall, the half-scale model of the Vietnam Wall that traveled the United States. Well, it's coming to rest, and it's going to live in Johns Creek forever, the half-scale model. We're looking at possibly a March implementation ribbon cutting ceremony, and we're looking for donors and sponsors that want to help us in this great project. You can donate at jcvets.org.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And I'm back, folks. We are back. Folks, I wanted to remind everyone, and I cannot believe I almost let this escape me, but please don't forget at 1 o'clock tonight, or at least by 1 o'clock tomorrow night, do not forget to set your scales back 15 pounds. Right, before Thanksgiving, you set those scales back 15 pounds. Don't forget to do it. I have to give credit to that. I did not come up with that on my own. An awesome listener, former Marine, sent me that, and I have to give him credit. That was awesome. Thank you for sending that to me. Folks, I also, real quick, I want to, I am honored right now to be, not just have this listener tuning in right now. This listener is watching the show right now on either YouTube or Facebook, because you can go to both and watch me live. I'm not saying you want to, because I don't always look great. Sometimes I very much have a face for radio. But I do want to acknowledge this person. It's an honor to have Harold Dennis tuning in right now. Folks, if you do not know the name Harold Dennis, and you're in Atlanta, DeKalb County, parts of Gwinnett, and I know a lot of South DeKalb, if you do not know the name Harold Dennis, please contact me, Victor at americaswebradio.com, or just look up Harold Dennis. This guy is an awesome. He's a rising star. He is going to be running for sheriff of DeKalb County, and let me tell you, not just we here in DeKalb County or Atlanta, Georgia, not only we need this guy Harold Dennis. The country is going to need him, and I'm telling you what I feel in my heart that Harold Dennis can do with the sheriff's department, the way he could turn this around and bring respect and character to the DeKalb County Police Department, to the sheriff's department, and then that, I just think from there, what he can do will spread. So, folks, if you're out there, and if you're not, even if you're not in Georgia, look up Harold Dennis. So, and you know what? Stay tuned, because pretty soon on an upcoming show, I'll have Harold Dennis hopefully in studio. At the very least, we'll have him on the radio, but hopefully we'll have him in studio, and we will get into some issues with Harold, and we'll introduce him to everyone. He's been on before, so those of you who are new listeners and are not familiar, just look up Harold Dennis. And if you're outside of Georgia, look him up. He's going to need help from everyone. And when you read about Harold, you will see what I'm talking about. But I have had the pleasure to be friends with Harold for a few years, and good guy. I consider him family. So that should tell you a lot, especially if you know me. All right, folks, enough. Let's get to some of the topics. And again, I tell you, it's hard to know where to start. But one thing I do want to say real quick, I'm going back to Thanksgiving. Ladies and gentlemen, on Sunday, I fried my first turkey, and it was probably one of the best turkeys I have ever had. So if you've never had it, and get yourself an air fryer, get yourself a big air fryer, put the turkey in it. It takes about 3 hours or so to cook it, maybe 2.5 hours, but it was one of the best tasting turkeys I have ever had. So I just wanted to say that if you're afraid to fry a turkey, get yourself a big air fryer and give it a shot. It is absolutely awesome. All right, now let's get on. So, all right, I'm gonna, last week, if you tuned in, I was talking about shift head Adam and this impeachment circus. So we didn't get to everything, so I want to pick up where we left off a little bit. So I'm going to start with Adam Schiff's impeachment fiasco, which, folks, this impeachment is taking a let's just say this impeachment fiasco, this circus, is in the midst of crashing and diving as we speak. So the hearings ended on Friday. So we had 2 weeks. And folks, let me remind you, and again, if you are a Democrat, and I know some of you are out there listening, or you're a never Trumper, and some of you out there I know are listening, if you are one of those people who just cannot bring yourself to, you're so afraid to say you support Trump because you don't like his tweets, or you think orange man, bad man, or you think he doesn't have the demeanor that you like. You're not used to having a non-politician in office. You're not used to having a businessman from New York who is a doer. You're not used to these things. So you're buying into this ridiculous media onslaught to try and convince you that Donald Trump is an idiot, or Donald Trump is this, or Donald Trump is everything but a child of God. Folks, you really need to step back and listen to me when I tell you. And I've said this before, and I will say it again. Take off your emotions hat. Take off your emotion glasses. Stop making decisions and judgments based on emotions. Step back and look at what we've got happening right now. When you have the Democrat Party who hates the president, and you have more than half of the Republican Party who hates the president. So basically, you've probably got 80% of Washington that hates the sitting president. That should tell you you have elected the right guy. Whether you voted for him or not, the American people, 63 million plus of us, put the right guy in office. When you can pick a guy out of the business world of the United States and stick them in the commander-in-chief role and elect them the president and stick them in Washington, and then the rest of Washington hates him, you can rest assured you've got the right guy. I don't care if you don't like his personality. I don't care if you don't like the way he speaks. I don't care if you don't like the way he fights back. You didn't elect your pastor. We're not electing preachers. We're not electing fathers. We're electing a president. We're electing someone to actually take the reins of the country, because the president is the commander-in-chief. The president is CEO of the executive branch. He's basically CEO of the country, but he really is the CEO of the executive branch. And we've put a businessman there to get things done. We've gone years and years and years and years and years of having a politician sit in that chair and do absolutely nothing. And when I say do nothing, I mean they're not helping the American people. We had 8 years of the previous administration who had who oversaw an economic growth, an anemic growth of not more than 1.5% on the average year to year to year for 8 years. Folks, an economy that grows that slow cannot keep up with the graduates. It can't keep up with the population. It can't keep up with immigration. It can't keep up with any of those things. Therefore, if you have an economy that's growing at that anemic rate and that can't keep up with the populace, then you're going to have bigger and bigger and bigger government dependency. And a country that tips the scale to where the majority of it is dependent on government is a country that will not survive. I'll tell you this, freedom won't survive. Liberty won't survive. So I know I probably sound like a broken record, but I have to bring this back up because I'm constantly getting emails or phone calls or comments from people who tell me, well, I don't really like the Democrats, but Trump's an idiot. Or, well, I don't really like the Democrats, but I can't agree with Trump's style. Folks, I don't care about Trump's style. Look at the action. We had 8 years of a previous administration who couldn't grow the economy, who couldn't figure out how to stop the draining sound of manufacturing jobs leaving this country, the sucking sound of manufacturing leaving this country. But yet we put a businessman in 2016, and within 2.5 years, we've got the lowest unemployment on record. We've got the lowest black unemployment on record, the lowest Hispanic unemployment on record. More women have jobs, have high-paying jobs than ever before. And if it's not ever before, folks, it's pretty darn close, because I'm not 100% sure on that, the statistic there, but I do know that there are more women having more opportunity than ever before. Basically, as a whole, if you are a citizen in the United States or a green card holder, or you're here legally working, there is nothing but opportunity right now. The economy is on fire. Consumer confidence is at a high. The stock market is at a record high. I mean, I can go on and on and on. There are deals being made on trade that haven't been made for years. For years, China has been stealing intellectual property from the United States, and now we're putting a stop to it. We're slowing that down. China has been taking advantage of trade deals, and that is coming to a halt. All of these are actual positive policy measures that Donald J. Trump has put into effect that are actually helping the American people, the American family, you, me, you name it. The legal immigrants that are over here, and even the illegals that are here that want to work are being helped by this economy. Folks, I have said this before. We are a country that does not need to build a wall to keep people in. How many countries around the world can say that? We're a country that actually needs a border because we've got to slow the influx of bad people coming in. And no, I am not saying that all illegal people are bad, but I am the product of legal immigration. So you want to have a debate with me about protecting the border? Bring it on. We can have that debate. But what I am trying to get you to understand is that this family that is America, is thriving right now. And if you're sitting there calling Donald Trump an idiot because you don't like the way he looks or you don't like the way he sounds, you really, really need to step back and ask yourself, why are you so angry? If you are a person out there who's telling me that you care about poverty, that you care about drug abuse, you care about animal cruelty, yes, ladies and gentlemen, animal cruelty, because Donald J. Trump, President Trump, just signed an animal cruelty bill. So if you're out there and you're against poverty and you want to help the poor and you want to help end drug abuse, or you want to help people who have a problem with whether it be abusing drugs or alcohol, you want to stop animal cruelty, then you need to step back and drop your emotions and go, wow, Donald Trump is actually doing some of the things I believe in. I don't care if you don't like the way he looks. I don't care if you don't like the way he speaks. But you cannot deny the results of the policies this man is putting in effect and how it is helping people. Ladies and gentlemen, before Donald Trump took office, we had a record number of people on the welfare dole. That's a record number of people that were seeking benefits from the federal government. That's a record number of people that could not make a living for themselves because they couldn't find a job, or 2 or 3 jobs wasn't cutting it, and they couldn't support their family. So they were turning to the government for a handout. There were a record number of people doing that. Well, folks, right now, look up the stat if you don't believe me. Because in less than 3 years, Donald J. Trump has turned that around with his policy. We have a record number of people coming off the doles of the government. A record number of people letting go of the government teat. Yes, I said it. A record number of people are letting go of the government teat, and they're finding jobs. We have a record number of people that have joined the labor force. And when I say they've joined the labor force, that means they found a job. That has happened in the last 2.5 years. That's not by mistake, folks. It didn't take Obama to lose an election for his policies to suddenly work magic. So don't come back at me with this ridiculous argument, oh, well, Obama can take credit for some of the things that are happening. No, he can't. Because Donald J. Trump is the antithesis to the policies that Obama did. And it wasn't just the Obama administration. It was the Bush administration before that and the Clinton administration before that. They all kicked the can down the road. And what you have now is a growing economy. What you have now is people coming off the government dependency and going into the labor force. That means they're fending for themselves. That means the individuality is coming back. That means that they're getting paid for their sweat equity. People are joining the private sector and they're becoming successes. Folks, we're going to another break. Don't you go away. We will be right back. This is America's Web Radio, On Point with Victor.
45 years of experience is behind the most trusted name in auto transportation. Passport Transport, the first and finest today. That's why Passport Transport is the preferred auto transport for major auto manufacturers, concours, museums, tours, and collectors, and should be your choice from across the state to across the country. When you have the need, go to PassportTransport.com and enjoy the peace of mind referenced experience will give you. Passport Transport.
This is America's Web Radio. Would you like to have a show, talk about your business, or express your opinion on America's Web Radio? Just email gm@americaswebradio.com and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
This is Ron Camacho, host of the Business Hour, on Fridays from 10 to 11 a.m. Join me as I talk with passionate professionals on a program that profiles the best businesses, business professionals, business practices, and fascinating individuals to get an insider view of how America works. 10 to 11 a.m. on America's Web Radio.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And welcome back, folks. Welcome back. This is On Point with Victor. Boy, the listeners are on fire today. I just got another message, and this is pretty funny. This message simply says, you've heard of Elf on the Shelf? Well, get ready for Burning on the Gurney. Love my listeners. You guys are great. All right, folks. So let me just touch on how ridiculous that this is getting. And again, if you are a Democrat out there, because I know some of you are listening, or you're a never Trumper, and you're out there right now, and you're listening to me talk about the emotions and what the media is trying to do. They want you to make emotional responses. I had another listener point out that they tried to use this emotional, let's say this tactic of getting people to respond with emotions. They tried to use this against Ronald Reagan. So this is all in history. You know, I always say that history's on my side, or history's on our side. It is. Nothing the Democrats are doing today is new. They do this to every Republican. And if you're sitting there and you're a never Trumper, or you're one of those people who are like, well, I'm not really a Democrat, but I don't like Trump. Well, if you're one of those, listen. The Democrats and the media, the lamestream media, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, NPR, all of them would be doing this same thing to whoever the Republican president is or will be. If Donald Trump had lost and Ted Cruz had won, or Marco Rubio had won, or Ben Carson had won, I just named you 2 Hispanics and 1 black guy, the Democrats and the media would be doing the same thing. Adam Schiff would be running around saying that we must impeach the second black president. Or maybe he would be saying we must impeach the first real black president. And maybe they would have been using that if Ben Carson had been elected, had Ben Carson won the primary in 2016, and had Ben Carson become the first Republican black president. I wouldn't put it past shift-head Adam to be going on a rampage saying that we must impeach the first 100% black president because he's not really black. I mean, they would be coming up with some ridiculous things. And if you're wondering why I'm saying the 100%, it was because Barack Hussein Obama was half white. He didn't really pay homage to his white side very much. So I know, folks, you know what? This is Thanksgiving week. I'm hell-bent on making it on the media watchdog list this week. So I may have just made it with that comment. But I speak only the truth here, and it's the common sense and it's logic. So let me go into a little bit more of how ridiculous. And if you are on the Democrat side, if you're a hate Trumper, never Trumper Democrat who can't stand him, you really need to change your tactic, because you're not doing yourself any favors by coming out with these wild, ridiculous, and stupid, idiotic accusations that you come out with. Let me tell you the latest. Here is why I can sit here with common sense and logic and make fun of those of you out there who tell me you don't like Trump because of his skin is orange, or you think he has a toupee, or you just don't like the way he speaks, you don't like the way he handles himself. Your side, and this came right out of CNN, folks. This was, I cannot remember the dude's name, who is so-called journalist. They actually looked to their listeners and said that Donald J. Trump, President Trump, is using mind control. They didn't say we think. They said he is using mind control. Well, I got a message or a question for CNN. If Donald Trump is using mind control to control all the minds out there that voted for him, why isn't it working on CNN? Why isn't it working on the Never Trumpers? So we are to believe that Trump supporters, all 63 million plus, we are to believe that we're such idiots that we can be susceptible to mind control by that somehow Donald J. Trump is such a big idiot, but yet he somehow has figured out mind control tactics. He somehow, beyond the idiocy that he supposedly is, he somehow figured out how to control minds. He can somehow control the minds of others. And apparently he can pick whose mind he wants to control. Because apparently it doesn't work on CNN or the Never Trumpers or NBCSN viewers. So tell me, folks, how smart do you think you are? Or who do you think you're persuading when you think, or when you say Donald Trump is using mind control? When you say if you cling to a Bible, then you're an idiot. Or when you call Trump supporters deplorables. Who do you think you're convincing to go to your side? Folks, you're just pushing people into the camp of Donald Trump. Look, you can believe what I'm saying or make fun of what I'm saying, but we're going to find out a lot next year. It's going to be funny to watch, really is. But all Adam Schiff is doing and Pelosi is doing with this impeachment circus, they're driving independents to Donald J. Trump. They're driving them to the Republican camp. And look, folks, if you don't believe me, and you want to live and die by polls, because I know a lot of you live and die by polls, and you love it when CNN comes out and manufactures a poll that says impeachment is on the rise. And look, you can go look and do some investigations on different polling out there, because most of the polls right now, and the reason why you're not hearing this on CNN or MSNBC or ABC or CBS, the reason you're not hearing this is because the polling ever since Friday, when the impeachment hearings ended, polling has been going in the opposite direction that Adam Schiff wants them to go in. The Democrats, they all thought, and believe me when I tell you, the only reason Pelosi let this go on is because she thought that the polling, the American people were going to say, oh, yes, I'm all for impeachment now. But the polling is showing the opposite. The polling has dropped. Ever since Adam Schiff started these hearings, the polling has dropped. The Hispanic support for impeachment is dropping. The black, this is huge, folks. The black support for impeachment has plummeted. There are polls out there showing that 35% of the black voter is in support of the Trump policies, and that they are not supporting impeachment. That is huge. So what I'm telling you is this circus and this accusing Trump or saying Trump is mind control, has mind control, calling Trump supporters idiots, and to continue to call the flyover country dumb farmers, to continue to call all of us deplorables. All you're doing is pushing people into Donald Trump's camp. Look, the American people are getting sick and tired of being told that the walls are closing in on Trump. He has mind control. That the time is near. Impeachment is near. Impeachment. People are getting tired of this. We as a country send representatives to Washington to represent us. We expect the legislative branch to legislate. So that means, for you Democrats out there, that means that the House of Representatives and the Senate need to be doing the job of legislating, so we can be helping more, or I should say helping more the American people. Boy, that didn't come out right. Folks, I spent a week in Mexico not too long ago, and the español, hay veces que yo quiero hablar español, hay veces que adentro de mi cabeza hay palabras de español, and sometimes it's tough to get the English out. So let me try this again. So you're driving people, even those who say they don't like Trump's style, you're driving them to his camp. Let me put it to you that way. And I'm telling you, folks, there is polling out there that's backing up my assertion. I don't need polls to tell me this. I have history on my side. We saw this when this was tried back in the Bill Clinton years, and even before that. So I have history on my side, and believe me when I tell you that nobody watched this crap. And yeah, I'm calling this impeachment circus, I'm calling it a crap show. You had diehard liberals, the Squad, you had people like that who watched the hearings, but flyover country and the regular American people did not watch this, and they tuned out the longer it went on. So this effort to drive down Donald Trump's poll numbers, it's not working. So think about that for a minute. We're going to go to the next break, and we'll be right back. This will be a short break, folks. You're listening to On Point with Victor. We'll be right back.
The Docs for Patient Care Foundation is your way to join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients, dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. Get a pen and paper. Write down docs4patientcarefoundation.org. That's DOCS, the number 4, patientcarefoundation.org. Go to our site and please make a generous tax-deductible donation and join the fight today. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mike Mizell. I'm a retired Army colonel and president of the Johns Creek Veterans Association. We meet in Newtown Park, and part of one of our projects is the installation of the Healing Wall, the half-scale model of the Vietnam Wall that traveled the United States. Well, it's coming to rest, and it's going to live in Johns Creek forever, the half-scale model. We're looking at possibly a March implementation ribbon-cutting ceremony, and we're looking for donors and sponsors that want to help us in this great project. You can donate at jcvets.org.
You know, as we come into Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, we have so much to be thankful for, and so many folks, veterans, that should be thanked. And I've made it a practice in traveling. If I'm in the airport and I see someone in uniform, it's easy enough to buy their lunch, buy their dinner, whatever. But veterans, generally speaking, don't have uniforms on, so you don't know unless they're wearing a cap from Vietnam, or maybe a World War II cap or whatever. But if you do see one, buy them a dinner and say thank you. Buy them a drink and say thank you. Whatever it happens to be, just say thank you, because we wouldn't be living the life that we're living without our veterans. So keep that in mind. We'll be back with more on America's Web Radio in just a moment. And if you have something you want to say, well, then listen up to this. This is America's Web Radio. Would you like to have a show, talk about your business, or express your opinion on America's Web Radio? Just email gm@americaswebradio.com and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
On the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, we're back, folks. I want to take a second here. I want to thank an awesome young listener out there, Logan Holbrook. If you're out there, thank you for tuning in. I can tell you, folks, Logan Holbrook is a star in the making. I believe he gave me kudos for using the term shift head Adam or shiftless shift. So you're welcome, Father Lewis. You're welcome. So, all right, and I always try to keep things clean and fun here on Point with Victor. And I do love it when I can connect with some young kids out there. So, all right, let me get back to this. So, thanks. Let me sum this impeachment thing up as basic and as simple and with as much common sense and logic as I can. I want you to pull in closely, put your phones up closer, put the ear pods in, turn the volume up, turn the computers up, whatever it is, reach in close to me. Let's get personal right now. I want you to hear this because this is as common sense and logic as you're going to hear. Right here on Point with Victor, because I don't sugarcoat. So let me explain, especially for you Democrats and you never Trumpers and you guys out there who are buying into this, or you actually think that Donald Trump was ever going to be impeached. Let me just explain to you what is going on and why the Democrats are doing what they're doing, and and what you need to ask is why we the people should be subject to the Democrats and the never Trumpers and the establishment Republicans allowing for taxpayer money to be continually wasted. Folks, you've got Bernie Sanders out there on the campaign trail constantly telling us that billionaires are bad and millionaires are bad. He attacks everyone in the private sector. When the biggest wasteful spenders out there is government. It's the Democrats, it's the Republicans, it's the administrative state, it's the big state, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, it is Washington. They waste more money in a second than you could ever dream of making. And this is my point. So let me tell you very simply what this waste of money and waste of time is what the effort is on the Democrats, why they're doing what they're doing. Pelosi has basically lost control of this party. The socialist left has taken over. The Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has taken over. They pushed Pelosi into this impeachment fiasco. But what Pelosi, the reason why Pelosi also, don't think that I'm taking any of the fault off of her, because she could have put a stop to this easily, but she didn't. Because here's the real story. The Democrats are absolutely terrified that they cannot win in 2020. You've got Socialist Sanders. I mean, come on, folks. Do you really think Socialist Sanders is going to win over Middle America? Do you really think he's going to win any state in the South? Hell no. You've got fake Indian Warren. Elizabeth Warren cannot stop lying. Period. She lied about her Indian heritage. She lied about when she was pregnant, or no, I'm sorry, not when she was pregnant. She lied about losing a job because of pregnancy. She lied just the other day about her kids going to public schools. Folks, there is no politician in Washington, especially on the Democrat side, who sends their kids to public schools, or government schools as I like to call them. It just doesn't happen, and neither did fake Indian Warren. Fake Indian Warren, when you want to know the truth, I think one or maybe two of her kids went to a government school in the 5th grade or up to the 5th grade, and then they were pulled out and they were put in the elitist school of the elitist schools. So she's out there lying about that. So the Democrats are terrified that they cannot win 2020 because you've got Socialist Sanders, you've got fake Indian Warren, you've got quid pro Joe. I mean, folks, Biden is done, and if they continue with the impeachment, if they do have a vote on impeachment, they're basically sealing Biden's fate. They're not going to get rid of Donald Trump, but they will get rid of Joe Biden. And I'll explain that later. Maybe you have to explain it on a later show. But folks, they're terrified they can't win in 2020. So what they are doing is they're engaging in this myth or this illusion. Let's put it that way. This is like a Vegas show illusion. The Democrats are trying to put all this stuff and throw it at the American people so that you know, it's the old adage, if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. Folks, read the Communist Manifesto, read Mein Kampf, read Rules for Radicals, study what happened with these despots throughout history. They all would tell you, and they all told their people, and when I mean that, I mean their surrounding, their administrative, their people that were helping them, the elitist class, the ruling class. They would tell them, tell a lie, tell it, day, noon, and night, tell the lie, because eventually the lie becomes the truth. And that is what the Democrat Party, your elected officials who are supposed to be representing you, and I am telling you, and some Republicans are in on this as well. You tell a lie long enough and it becomes the truth. That's what they're trying to do to you. They think so little of the American voter that they're using this impeachment, this lead up to this impeachment hearings. They threw the Russia hoax at you. They threw Stormy Daniels at you. They threw Kavanaugh at you. Well, they tried to sink Kavanaugh. I mean, it was awful what they did to him. But through that, they were attacking Trump. They threw Donald Trump's taxes at you. I can go on and on and on. White nationalism, apparently. Oh, Donald Trump is a white nationalist. All of these things, folks, they are trying to convince you that Donald Trump is engaged in. None of them have any proof. In fact, Donald Trump has been exonerated from all of them. But they're out there telling the lie. Because if you keep up telling the lie, they hope that they can separate Donald Trump's supporters from him. And if they can do that, they can drive his poll numbers down or his approval numbers down. Remember what I tell you, Democrats and the Washington, with Republicans included, live and die by polls. And it's ridiculous because we've seen how wrong polls are. But they live and die by them. They live and die by focus groups. Folks, the Democrats focused a week and a half ago the word bribery. So all of a sudden, you heard bribery, 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 bribery. You heard this all over the left of me, all over the lamestream media and every Democrat. It is not a coincidence that they all universally use the same word, the same time, the same day on every newscast. That is all by design. They did a poll, a focus group. That word focused well, so they run with it. And again, it's part of this illusion, this lie that they're trying to convince you, the American people, that there must be something there, so we must impeach Donald Trump. We must do it. For the good of the country, we must. For the children, we must do that. That's what they're trying to convince you. So they're willing to waste taxpayer dollars. They're willing to waste your time, folks, because this is our time. These representatives in Washington represent us. They're there to do the job of the American people, but they're not doing it. There's no legislation being done. There is an awesome trade deal that Donald Trump put together with Mexico, Canada, and the United States that isn't being ratified because the House is too busy trying to convince you that we need to impeach a president. We are less than 11 months to an election where you, the people, decide on Donald Trump's fate, which is the way it should be. But the Democrat Party is so afraid that they can't win in 2020. They are so afraid that they cannot dare allow you, the people, we, the people, they can't dare let us make the choice. Oh, we aren't smart enough. You see, the deep state has to make that decision for us. You, we, the people, we're not smart enough to go make the right vote. So a bunch of unelected bureaucrats, lifelong career political bureaucrats, oh no, they must make the choice. Because you, the American citizen, you, Joe Blow out there working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, you can't be trusted with your vote. So we must try and make the lie the truth. We must make the lie the truth. And we must try and drive down Donald Trump's polling numbers so we can somehow justify impeachment. Folks, the Democrats know that if they impeach him in the House, it's going to be a 100% Democrat vote. Not one Republican is going to vote for it. Then it's going to go to the Senate. Folks, the Democrats lose control because the Senate is controlled by Republicans. And that is where the impeachment trial would happen. And shame on the Republicans if they go that far, or if they allow it to go that far. So, all right, folks, I am out of time. So, again, we will get more. We'll get back into this next week. So tune in again next week. I will have lots more to say. You guys have an awesome Thanksgiving. I know many of you are going to be off work after today, so enjoy this time off. Enjoy your holiday. Happy Thanksgiving, and tune into America's Web Radio, folks, and be sure to tune in on
Thursday at 10 o'clock for Admiral Wendy Carpenter.
You are going to want to hear it.
First Lady Admiral in the U.S. Navy. And
Rear Admiral.
Rear Admiral, yes. So tune in on Thursday at 10 o'clock. You'll enjoy every minute of it, and enjoy listening to our chaplain as well.
Absolutely.
We'll be back with more with Roger B. and Locked and Loaded.
You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan, and every family will save thousands of dollars a year. I'm Ellen Deal.